Hi everyone, it's Monique Heusler. I'm going to talk to you today about data sets and information management. You are all practicing nurses. You should understand data sets and information management pretty well. I'm just going to give you some more information on this, basically because you need to understand this a little bit more as practicing nurses, why we need to document what we need to document, why we need to document it well, and the reasoning for all of that. A lot of nurses don't understand why the documentation needs to be done, what the reasoning behind chart audits are for, and why management gets on our butts a little bit about why documentation needs to be done properly. And the data sets is part of the reason for it. Companies come in and do chart audits, and we do chart audits as some of our nurses do chart audits for these data sets to gather information for these big companies, to get some information, to put it into a big system, basically to get information to ensure that our patients are getting the quality care that they deserve and that they need. But we're going to go into that here real quick. So we're going to go to this data sets thing. And as you can see, data sets are collections of data that can include financial data, statistical data, and insurance data. These sets are used as standards for efficient and meaningful use of the information. So this data is collected for reasonings. It's not just collected just because it wants to be collected, not just because people say, hey, let's collect this useful data. No, it's used for a specific reason. Financial data is for our patients is collected because we need to ensure that our patients are getting the quality care that they need and that they deserve. Their financial status helps to determine if we can give them quality insurance. So our healthcare, can either be lowered or higher depending on how their insurance is or how our quality of healthcare is. So that is very important, the financial data that they can gather for that. Statistical data includes where they're located, what patients we're being taken care of, what kind of patients we're taking care of. That helps to know in the areas that we're taking care of, if we're taking care of more minorities or if we're taking care of more affluent people. That helps to know what kind of areas we're in. So these data sets, that statistical data helps with that. The insurance data obviously needs to know if they carry insurance or not, whether it's Medicaid or, say, Blue Cross Blue Shield. It just needs to know, they want to know what kind of insurance they have. And there's a whole bunch of other different kinds of data sets that they do collect. These are just three that I just kind of gathered together right now. But this data is needed and gathered for specific reasons. We use this data sets to actually ensure that our patients are getting quality care for when they come into the hospital. They gather this data to ensure that the patients are getting the right use of the uh, the stuff that we're getting, to make sure that we're getting the proper equipment, to make sure that we're getting the right staffing and all that kind of stuff. So that's really important. Let's see if I can get out of this real quick. Sorry, my presentation stuff doesn't really want to work for me for some reason. Let's this. I'm gonna go into. We're going to go into the information management part here. So that data, let's go to present mode here. That data is then given to information management, and with the information management, that is used with evidence-based practice. And that is really important because, as we know, our practice is based off of evidence-based practice. We want to ensure that the practice that we give is evidence-based to ensure that our practice is quality. Information management, as you can see, is needed to ensure that the evidence is gathered and is true and accurate. So there's different types of information management out there. There's electronic health records, which I think most people use the EMR now, which is fantastic. It's kind of nice to have the electronic medical records because a lot of doctors and hospitals and clinics use electronic medical records. And if they're all connected within the area, you can gather all of that information. So if, say, your patient went to the hospital and then they had a follow-up appointment at their primary care, the primary care doctor's office can actually pull up their information and what tests they had done and what procedures they had done at the hospital. So they can see all of that information through the patient's electronic medical record. That way the patient doesn't have to carry the information with them that they got from the hospital. They don't have to carry all their testing done, the lab work that they had done, their x-rays or whatever they had done. It's all right there in their medical record. The patient doesn't have to remember, oh, well, they put me on this medication just while I was there, or they gave me this medication, or they told me that I have to go see this specialist. Everything is right there in the medical record, the electronic medical record, which is really nice. That also leads to safe and efficient patient care because everything is all right there, and it allows for the doctors, their primary care doctors, to be on the same page as the internalists that are in the hospital. It allows for the specialists that are in the hospital and outside the hospital to be on the same page, which is fantastic for the patients. Once again, it allows for that patient-safe care. But it leads to quality patient care, which is really nice for the patient as well. That ensures that each patient is getting the exact same care according to whatever they need, and ensures that they're getting the quality care that they need to, because they are able to have the right specialists they are able to get to the right specialist that they need depending on what care they need, depending on what hospital visit they were there for. If they went in for stomach pain and they need to see a gastroenterologist, they're able to go visit that gastroenterologist who's on the same network, and that gastroenterologist can see those medical records because of that electronic medical record. So that quality of patient care is very important. It always does that. Sorry, for some odd reason my presentation is not working very well. I'm just going to have to go through it manually. I'll set it up big again. There are legal regulations to this. This is the governing bodies that regulate all the data collections and the management to ensure that the patient information is kept safe and confidential, because, of course, safe patient information is very important to nurses and to patients. We want to make sure that our patients' information is kept safe, not only within the hospital and within the doctor's offices, but we want to ensure that our patients that their information is kept safe. The HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, was placed into effect. And that basically tells us that we can't give any information out unless the patient says that it's okay to anybody except for those who are on their team that are medically treating them. And then there's also the HITTech, which is the Health Information Technology and Economic and Clinical Health Act, which is actually pretty important because it allows us to get the technology part of it, which is kind of like the electronic medical records. It allows the technology part to be involved, but it also makes sure that we are all protected, not only as nurses, but like I said, as patients as well. There's a lot of people are very wary of the electronics these days, and what it is in regarding having their medical records online and all that kind of stuff, because you never know if hackers are going to be trying to get into their systems and trying to get into their information. This act right here actually helps protect patients and helps protect us as nurses. So that's actually really important too. So both of these acts are really, really important for our patients to know about and to understand. So that's really important too. So that is about it. Thank you very much.